Oh, I like your cold air intake, dude. It's pretty sweet. I like what you did with your cold air intake. Dude. Dude. What? Dude? A toolbox. Wait a minute, that's just... oh, it's just the radiator. Boy, I wish I had some zip ties. Boy, I wish I had a pair of gloves. Boy, I wish I had me one of them nice new Garage Idiot shirts. Oh. Thank you. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough of this, mostly because those are the only two straights that I have. Well, we'll see how far we'll get. So I'm a little bit torn on how I want to mount that. So instead of staring at that for hours like I would normally, I'm going to start up here and we're going to work backwards. My concern is that in efforts to completely hide this intercooler pipe, we're gonna have to route so much that it is going to create a good amount of lag. But there's only one way to find out. Quick thank you to everyone who bought zip ties, gloves, shirts, because I desperately needed some new welding gloves for 13 bucks because I think it's this. Yeah, that has been putting some burn marks on my thumb. So thank you guys. You not only contribute to other things, but when I start to burn my thumbs, that's when I know I need some more stuff. Not anything to brag about, but this was up here. So this will at least give us a little bit more clearance right here, which is kind of all I was really worried about, but it kind of almost did nothing. But at the same time, it did something. So we're just gonna move on and pretend that what we did was worthwhile. See that one right there, right there, that one, see how it's flat? Pretty uniform. That's what they all should look like. At the very end, I got that 1 inch of glory. Disclaimer, our gloves do not protect you from belt sanders. My goodness gracious. Oh, that's chop saw, this bandsaw. Boy, that's so much better than all that crap. Max didn't tell us about the timing chain on the back, I would go purchase one of these immediately.
I'm only gonna drive it for like 2,000 miles, you know me.
That's true. Okay, ready?
Yep. Oh. That feels good.
That was 60. That was almost 70. What the?
I'm gonna get a lot of speeding tickets.
What does it do from just dead nuts? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. All right, Hux.
Just like that, 2 or 3 days have magically passed and I have done nothing because I had to work. But we're back. So what we got right here, we got this coming down. We got to clean up this hole a little bit. Still got to punch a hole in this bad boy to make that hidden, but that's going to go all the way up to about, meow. No, come back. I'm going to stick a little straight right about here. And then the obnoxious goal of making from here all the way back one piece will initiate. We're getting extremely creative in how we keep these pipes where we need them to be. Well, that's a pretty nice cold air intake you got going on there. I like what you did with the cold air intake. I like what. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You what? You what? Almost perfect. Let's see if we can keep going. Boys, we are getting mighty close. I tell you what, now I'm gonna screw it up. Watch this. Not perfect. Well, you guys have seen my welds. Okay, a little booger spot right there. A little booger spot right there, right? Because that's where attack was. And then other than that, that might be about the best one I've done. Still not what we're chasing. Holy crap, that's hot. All right, we got this freaking spaghetti noodle here that should get us from there to up there. Something like that. Yes, there it is. Look at that fitment. This is holding it up as high as it'll go, so we'll drop that probably half an inch or so it don't rubber jiggle. And then we're up under there, and then we get to go straight back forever. Luckily, I made 10,000 pipe cuts because I had to use 5,000 of them right here. And then at least we can just go straight for a minute. Basically a 90 up until we get to the turbo. And then we'll have to do some more weird stuff like this. But I'm gonna weld this up quick and then connect that to that. And then we'll do the straights. We're moving along. It's Saturday. I have an hour and a half here today. So I'm trying to run around and do as much as I can. So we're getting close. Ignore the fact that I left the bevel on there. We were running short on the distance that we need, so I kept the extra half inch there, but we are getting dangerously close to looking professional. We're getting there, fellas. I tell you what, I need to come up with a new name for this arm. This arm needs its own nickname. This is a burn that I got years ago, and the scar just keeps getting soft and opening up in the shower. I just dropped the freshly 3-weld pipe on my arm, so this will blister overnight, and that hurts like a mother. But we got that going down like such. We go, okay, now, next issue, which I didn't really foresee because I was focused on up here. So we got another body mount right here. If we go below that, it's gonna be a little more obvious that there's a pipe on here. This will be black, but nonetheless, I don't want to go in here because the exhaust is right here, and if the intercooler is in the bed, we don't want any of this being by anything hot, right? So I'm wondering if I can pancake the pipe and put it diagonally right here, if that'll kind of suck it up against this bolt. I'm also contemplating grinding down that washer a bit just to give us kind of that angle that we want, and that should be okay. But nonetheless, this is fully welded from here all the way up to there. I have the scar to prove it, or soon to be. But my hour and a half for Saturday is up. We got to go watch the UFC fight and spend time with the family. We're going to teach my baby boy what punching is.
Who's surprised? You squint tight.
Sure would have been cool to have these for my arms before that happened. All right, this should be the final piece of the puzzle. It does a little something like that. I'm gonna weld this up, and then we got the hole cut for the intercooler, so we're gonna build some ducting underneath and put some fans on it, and then we gotta figure out kind of what we're gonna do on top of this to let air out, but without, you know, a big fat, this isn't a toolbox, if that makes sense. So we're gonna weld this and see what it looks like. Boy, we barely made it on that. Gonna have to go pick some more of that up tomorrow. So this is done and it's hot. Come out of your hole. Why do, oh, the clamp. There you go. All right, so for the final piece of this puzzle, we're gonna make this wrinkle black so it's less conspicuous, because we don't want anybody seeing these welds and being, wow, why would a master fabricator create just a plain old cold air intake? So we want to get that illusion out of people's heads and make it a little more incognito on this end. And then right here, we're gonna make a plate that covers that so you can't see inside and see those magnificent, those aren't as, ignore what I just said. Okay, before I show you the final results of how cool this fake cold air intake is, there's a couple things I want to point out because I posted this setup in its early stages on Sloppy Mechanics. What I posted was a picture of the turbo and a picture of the intercooler literally just sitting there. Very obvious it was not installed, very obvious no plumbing was done, no bracketry. I could have thrown the intercooler. That group has a lot of different people in it. You got a lot of people like you and me that are like, wow, that's cool. I wonder what's gonna happen next. I wonder how it's gonna work. But then you have people who think they're engineers, but in reality, they have the intelligence of my left shoelace. But their opinions are very big, and so they were very vocal. They said things that most people were probably thinking like, I wonder how long that's gonna take to spool, but they were very adamant that it's never gonna spool. They also said a lot of stuff about me creating an oven in the bed of the truck. Again, it was not done, but anyway, but I'm bringing up that to explain to you what they should have known had they been smarter than my left shoelace. Okay, first off, as far as this getting hot, yeah, it's probably gonna get warm. We're not done yet. We're gonna make heat shields, we're gonna make venting, we're gonna make ducting, we're gonna have fans on the intercooler, we're gonna have ducting here, we're gonna get all sorts of things to get as much heat out of here as possible, and it's gonna work. You know why? Because I'm right. Second thing, I was thinking about the endless intercooler pipe on this vehicle. We may have created the longest singular intercooler pipe, but then I was thinking a little bit about it. Picture a 2JZ in an engine bay. Okay, you got turbo on this side, you got intake on this side. By the time this pipe comes all the way down and around to the intercooler, it goes through the intercooler and comes all the way up to the intercooler, you probably have roughly 3 feet here and about 3 feet here. And that's not an exaggeration. Here we have maybe a foot in the bed, and then we have about 8 feet going up. So we probably have maybe 3 feet longer than a normal average turbo setup. But our piping is 2.5. I know it sucks that sticks down, but it's gonna be black and you're not gonna see it. There's a body mount there I couldn't avoid. But our piping is 2.5 inches. We have a cammed 5.3 V8 that normally takes at least this size piping, and we have shrunken it down to absolutely nothing, which means the lag is not gonna be as great as the entire internet thinks. But like I've said before, I don't know what I'm doing. This is all experimental. However, I ask people who are more intelligent than me what to do in this situation because they've done it before. So we have 2 inch from each side on the exhaust coming to a 2.5 inch all the way up. That is also really small for a V8. That is going to force the air because it wants more room, and it's going to create what is called velocity. For those left shoelace people, you might not know what the word velocity means, but it means okay, so between that and the little tiny intercooler pipe, the lag probably isn't gonna be as bad as we thought. As I said, with the heat staying in the box, we're not finished yet. We got a lot of things that we gotta do. We got stuff to figure out. No one has done something this brilliant before, ever. That's not true, but we're not finished. We got a lot to figure out and a lot to do, and we got the exhaust to make. We got all kinds of things to route. So for those of you who are left shoelaces, shush. All right, so we got the hole cut there underneath the intercooler. We're gonna put fans on it. I'm thinking about doing some ducting that will take all of that air up and then put it through the side of the bed, because right in here is hollow, but it does open up at the bottom so air would flow freely. I also think we're gonna take the intake and shoot it all the way over there as well for fresh air. Okay, now let me show you what I am most proud of. The thing I have taken literally no time or effort at all to create that you see before you. I just had some friends over here. I wish I was filming, but they thought I was literally showing them the powder coat. They're like, wow, that looks good. They had no idea what I have created. They have no idea. There is a little bit of an opening here that we can fill. But at first glance, like from right here, that's pretty solid. I wish I could powder coat this, but I can't because it's so long it won't fit in my oven, but you can barely even see that. So we're gonna do probably some bed liner on this and you won't even be able to see it as well. For those of you wondering, the tire does not touch, though it's close. It also needs to butt up this way a little more. Everything's just finger tight so I can show you and upload this video. On the next video, what we got to do is the fan, some ducting, some fresh air intake, some holes in the top of this to alleviate some heat. We got to make a heat shield. We got to wrap that. We do have to add a wastegate and a blow-off valve because I didn't think about that stuff. And then I think because we're kind of out of room for the exhaust, my friend Max had the brilliant idea of putting another little tiny toolbox right here, like a little 2-drawer, and then we'll cut a hole right here and then cut a hole in this toolbox and then send the exhaust through this little toolbox, and it'll just kind of complete the whole. Wow, that's just a work truck. It's probably really slow. I wish I had some zip ties and then count to 2. This could suck so bad. All right, maybe aim for like here, and I'll pretend it's. Okay.
You're getting half and half.
All right. Boy, I wish I had some zip ties. Oh, you nailed my. Oh, thank you.